Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of American Soccer Quick Kicks. I'm your host, David Wright. I just want to talk to you this week, putting a bow on the Leagues Cup that just played its final on Sunday. And of course, we have the US men coming back into camp. Today's Tuesday, we have a game on Saturday. So, Leagues Cup, the final was played between Seattle and Miami. It was played in Seattle. They had the full seating capacity for the NFL configuration. They had it opened up, 65,000 fans playing and actually cheering against Messi, which is nice to see. Too often he seems to have the crowd on his side, even in road matches. But anyway, it was really kind of a dominating performance from Seattle. They ended up winning 3-0. Two of the goals came late. Miami had their chances. They could just never quite put correct finishing touch on it. So congratulations to Seattle. I think everybody was kind of expecting Miami to be able to do this, but they fall short. And so Seattle, after a strong showing at Club World Cup, they are your 2025 Leagues Cup champion. So what this means is that Seattle and Miami both get spots in next year's CONCACAF Champions Cup. Seattle will get a bye for the first round because they won this one. So congratulations to Seattle. The Galaxy ended up winning the third place match. I'm so happy for them. They had nothing else to play for this year because they're wallowing in the cellar, but these types of secondary competitions that take place concurrent within the season give teams just like the Galaxy something to play for and something to focus on and kind of, come into it with a clean slate. It doesn't matter what your league record is. And that's exactly what they did. They took advantage of it. They ended up winning the game, and the LA Galaxy are in CONCACAF for next year. They're your defending MLS Cup champions. So I'm glad to see them salvage something from this season, but because their regular season has just gone so poorly. So I thought both matches were highly entertaining, and I enjoyed Leagues Cup more this year than I have the previous 2 years. The question, and I'll put it to the chat, is it good? Is it actually a good thing for the tournament when MLS sweeps the quarterfinals? And when you get down to the Final Four, it's all MLS. I mean, you'd like to think that's a good sign that we've closed the gap in quality with Liga MX and all that kind of stuff. The problem is, as you probably know, is that the tournament is really stacked in favor of the MLS clubs because we don't have to travel. We don't have to travel outside the country. Let me put it that way. Some clubs do have to travel domestically, but the Mexican teams don't have a chance to play in their home grounds in front of their home crowds. And that was by design. That was the understanding from both leagues at the highest level at the very formation of this tournament. That was strategically exactly what they wanted. It was for everything. There's the cat making noise behind me. The whole point was to have everything take place in America so they can cross promote both leagues to America. If this tournament is going to continue to grow, I think what they have to start looking at is how to get some of these matches to be played in Mexico. But this congratulations to Seattle, and Miami's got to figure this out. I mean, you have a limited window with Messi and all these guys. They did win Leagues Cup in 2023. They won Supporter Shield last year. They got bounced out of the playoffs by Atlanta. Miami really needs to win MLS Cup. They need to win it this year, and they're not near the top of the standings. It doesn't look like they're going to come away with any hardware this year, but they have like 3 matches in hand. They've played 3 fewer matches than people above them in the table. There's an opportunity for them to make up ground. We'll see if they can do that. The same thing is true for LAFC. If I just jump over to the West real quick, they have before this weekend, they had like a 9-point gap behind San Diego, but they had 3 matches in hand, and they played San Diego head to head. That was a 6-point match, meaning there's a 6-point swing there, depending on the outcome of the match. If they had been able to win that and still have 3 games in hand, then LAFC would still have a shot at the conference. But San Diego won that, It was Son Heung-min's home debut. It was in front of the LA crowds, and San Diego still won. And they're only tightening their grasp on the Western Conference. San Diego is on the verge of making history in multiple ways. You're looking at the best points record for an expansion club. You're talking about possibly winning Supporter Shield as an expansion club, and they have to be one of the favorites for MLS Cup. So San Diego's having a fantastic year. The first three spots in the 2026 CONCACAF Champions Cup are now filled. Seattle, Miami, and the LA Galaxy. So congratulations to them. But is that what we're here for? No. This is American Soccer Quick Kicks. The U.S. men are returning to action. We have our first the next match is coming up on Saturday, September 6th. We're playing, I believe it's in Harrison, New Jersey at Red Bull Arena, and we are playing South Korea. And Son Heung-min is going to be captaining that team. So, and then about, I guess, a week from tonight, we'll play the second match in the window. We're going to be playing, I believe it's in Columbus. We're going to be playing against Japan. So all the players were playing this weekend, and so they should be getting into camp right now. And Pochettino is going to have a few days with them ahead of this first match. So I want to talk a little bit, about my reaction to the roster, and I want to I have one thing that I needed to address from last week. It came in as a question on the AMA, and I didn't get to it, but it's totally relevant as we preview this game coming up on Saturday. So I'm about to dig into it right now. I know I got a couple folks in the room with me. I appreciate it. If you got any questions or comments, you want to take this conversation in a different direction, just let me know. Let me hear from you. But one question I got going into the AMA last week was, what are Pochettino's preferred tactics? How does he like to play? And I started to get into a little bit of like general tactics to look for when you're watching a game, but I didn't apply it directly to the US men. So let me try to do that now. He prefers to play, I think his first choice is a 4-2-3-1. Sometimes it morphs into a 4-3-3. He prefers a 4-2-3-1 high press. And so if you remember what I talked about, that's referring to the shape, the formation of the team on the field, how they lay out, but also it's referring to that line of confrontation where they like to begin to put defensive pressure on the ball when the other team is in possession. And one thing Pochettino likes to do is press high. Like if we're attacking, we turn the ball over. He doesn't want us dropping back. He wants us staying right on it, going after the ball, look for a quick recovery and regain possession high in the field in a high percentage area. So he prefers playing that high press approach to it. Another thing, and I don't think I mentioned this last week, but one thing to look for as far as how a team is playing is how are they restarting possession? How are they building up when, say, the goalkeeper has the ball and they're ready to start? You have a couple of choices. You can play out of the back, or you can hit it long. You can punt it and try to bypass the midfield. When you play it long, generally that's a low percentage play. You don't really know who's going to come away with it. It doesn't always work in your favor. It often does not. But what it allows you to do is bypass the midfield or just get the ball out quickly. If you feel like the preceding action is drawing everybody in close to you and all the spaces behind them, just get the ball on the other side of everybody and let everybody run and figure it out. The other thing to do is to slow down the pace, take your time, deploy your team, let them recover their positions on the field, and then either you're rolling the ball to a defender or you're throwing it specifically to someone, and you now have the ball, your defensive third of the field, but you're in possession and you're in control. That's usually a better way to maintain control of the ball, right? You can build it up. You have to have confidence, though, in your ability to build it up through the midfield. And Pochettino prefers to build out of the back. That's what he wants to do. He wants to build out of the back. And so I think one thing we have to look at when making a decision on goalkeeper is who's good with their feet. Because when a ball is played back, they can't use their hands. And so sometimes if the other team's high pressing, the goalkeeper has to be able to dribble out of tight spaces, or handle that moment of pressure without too much panic. And so who's good with their feet? I don't think Matt Turner. I don't think that's a strength for Matt Turner. So I don't really know what the answer is, even though Turner's still the guy I'm rooting for to get the job. The the thing I'm concerned about is how we're going to match up in the midfield against our opponents, because I'm not filled with confidence in the roster, and I'm about to switch over to an image of that. We're going to look at the roster a little bit, and I don't think we're fielding our best team, and we're going up against some high quality opponents that are highly technical. And even though Pochettino prefers to play out of the back, that means you have to get through Korea's midfield or Japan's midfield. And I don't know if we have the personnel in this camp on this roster to actually do that. So that's going to be something to look for. That's the key to the match. Okay. When you're watching the game, I predict you're going to see us start out playing out of the back. What to look for is, how long are we going to stick with that? How much success do we have with that? Because if we start losing the midfield battle, how soon do we resort to just kicking it long and starting that way? So that's going to be something that I'm looking for in both matches. I'm going to go ahead and inspect. I haven't shared a screen in a while. I'm going to see if I remember how to do that. Say I have a new computer. First day with a new computer, or first show, I should say, with the new computer. So that went a little differently. Anyway, this is the initial 22 players, the initial list of 22 players that was announced. They did come out with the 23rd player. We know who that is now. It's Faloran Balogun. So that's another forward that you can add to this list. I want to go through this a little bit. I want to break this down. I don't get into the weeds of MLS action too much, because I don't know how many of you are actually following the league and want me to get into the details of like some of the narratives going on over the course of the season and, with the various teams. If that's something you want me to do, I certainly can. I follow the league closely. But when it comes to the U.S. men's national team, I feel like this is the one team we should all be able to get behind. I encourage everybody to actually watch these games and familiarize yourself with the players as they come into these camps. So the goalkeepers we have here: Roman Celentano, Matt Freese, Jonathan Klinsmann. Celentano and Freese are in MLS. By the way, 12 out of the 23 players in this camp, 12 out of the 23 are based in Major League Soccer, play their club ball in MLS. So let me see. All right. Am I back now? All right. So the screen share did not work, huh? Okay. Somebody talk to me in the chat. Are you seeing me again? Okay. All right. So we're good. All right. Well, never mind. I'm going to have to figure that out. I went to the screen share. All right. So you're saying you did have the screen for a second. All right. I'm going to try that again. Okay. I'm going to try to share it one more time. And somebody tell me quickly if you're seeing that. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing the roster? Somebody talk to me. Okay. All right, good. So Freese and Celentano are Major League Soccer. Okay. Celentano plays for Cincinnati. Freese plays for New York City. Klinsmann is a surprise to this roster. Everyone's really confused what he's doing here. He now plays for a Serie B team in Italy, which means they're second tier, right? Not their top flight, but they just won promotion. So until right now, he's been in the third tier of soccer in Italy. And meanwhile, like, Matt Turner's making all the right moves to get looked at again. And we have other contenders, but this guy, who, by the way, is the son of Jurgen Klinsmann, former German international, who also once coached the U.S. men's national team. This guy gets pulled out of like the third tier of Italian soccer. Don't expect to see him on the field. Based on the names here and who played in the Gold Cup, I would have to think Matt Freese is looking like Pochettino's first choice, at least for this particular camp. Who knows what he's thinking in terms of the bigger picture? Let's look at these defenders, okay? Arfson, skip one to Blackman, skip one to Freeman, Harriel, Ream. Those guys are all Major League Soccer, and they were all on the Gold Cup roster. Okay, that does not fill me with confidence. This tells me that we're probably seeing Max Arfson at left back again. He's not a left back; he's a winger. He was a defensive liability for us during the Gold Cup. It's almost offensive that we're seeing guys like Harriel on this roster. We don't need, like, we should be getting ready for the Gold Cup. So Junior Des, fantastic. Glad to have him back. First, he plays in Eredivisie, which is the first division in the Netherlands. First time he's been able to play for Pochettino because he's been hurt. And Chris Richards tearing it up in the Premier League, plays for Crystal Palace. He's our best center back right now. So great to see him here. I'm pinning a lot of hopes on this guy, Noah Kai Banks, brand new, young, has never played for the senior team before. He has represented the U.S. at the youth levels. He plays in the Bundesliga for Augsburg, and he's a defender. I don't know anything about him. I hope he's a center back. But what I do know is that he plays in the Bundesliga. And so the floor already has to be high for him. And so I hope we see him play a lot. I'm going to be trying to assess him and see if he represents any kind of improvement for us. Tim Ream was too old in the 2022 World Cup, and no one thought he'd still be around for 2026, but no one has stepped up to knock him out of his spot. We're so weak here. I don't know. We have people playing defense in Europe in various leagues. Why are we fielding a Gold Cup MLS roster on defense? I don't get it. And it's not much better with the midfield. Okay. Midfield, you got Tyler Adams, who plays in the Premier League. Okay. Everybody else in midfield is Major League Soccer. Vancouver, San Diego, Salt Lake, Houston, Columbus. What are these guys doing? Why are they here? What is Pochettino thinking? At some point, you have to stop looking at new people, and you have to stop trying to familiarize yourself with your pool, and you have to start making decisions on who your team is and build your core and build your ethos and get your team ready. And I don't know, like, we have players that play for Juventus. We have players that play for Real Madrid. They're not in this camp. We're picking Columbus Crew and Houston Dynamo players instead. I don't get it. Look, I'm not trying to trash Major League Soccer. I'm a Major League Soccer fan. I'm probably a little too big of a fan. People probably say I'm probably obsessed with it, but I'm realistic about it. Okay, like, if you're not good enough to get a look from European leagues, then you're not one of our best, right? Don't we want our best players who are performing at a consistent level, at the highest level of the sport? Don't we want our best players that are playing at the highest level, representing our country for the World Cup? What are we doing? And, it's one thing if you're bringing people in and assessing them and trying to familiarize yourself with the talent pool, but we're out of time. Like, we can't keep doing this. After September, we have October and November, and we have March. And that's it. There is a window prior to the World Cup. There's going to be that fourth window, which is you just have your little warm-up games at the last second. Okay. Now, the U.S. will probably get an extra camp squeezed in January like they usually do. It's not a FIFA window, which means clubs don't have to release players. We already know we're not going to get our top players in January, so I'm not even counting it. We're running out of time. Why are we bringing in Major League Soccer midfields, Major League Soccer defenses? I don't get it. I don't get it. And it's got everybody confused, and anxiety is running high. Now, when you look at the forwards, this is a lot better. Okay. Christian Pulisic, obviously, our biggest marquee name, like running things at AC Milan, and he's been in the conversation a lot. All eyes are going to be on him. I want to see how hard he plays. I feel like he should be coming in with a chip in his shoulder and a lot to prove. I want to see Pulisic balling out. I don't want to see a weak performance from him at all. Damian Downs and Josh Sargent both play in the English Championship, which is the level just below the Premier League. Damian Downs, Coventry City. Josh Sargent plays for Norwich, and he's in great form. He has been scoring a lot. I'm happy to see him get a look here under Pochettino. I'm worried, though, that I think I don't know about Downs. I don't know enough about him, but Sargent is someone who relies on good service in order to finish chances. And one thing I'll look at this midfield. Okay, I don't see playmakers. I do not see any central playmakers. This group of midfielders is why I'm concerned about how we're going to match up against Korea and Japan. And I don't know where the service is going to come from for whoever's playing in the middle up top, which is either going to be Sargent or Downs. I hope it's Sargent, but I don't think he's set up for success with this roster. I really don't. Pulisic play left wing. Tim Weah is going to play right wing. I love Tim Weah. I love him. I'm glad to see him back here. Alex Zendejas, he plays in Mexico for Club America, and he's gotten looks before at the U.S. level. He's someone who's very strong at the club level, has never been able to take advantage of his shots with the national team. So I don't know how much we're going to see him on the field, but if this is going to have to be a very important camp for him if he's going to have any shot at 2026. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to come back to here. So I'm concerned. I'm confused by this roster selection, and I'm concerned about how we're going to match up in the midfield. Pochettino has said that this is like the last chance camp for a lot of these guys. It's his last time to look at these people. I hope so. I hope we see a very different approach to the roster next month, because it's time to start getting serious about building our World Cup squad. I mean, we're already in the red zone. So I wish, I don't know what he's thinking, treating this window this way. But if we see this same core, this Gold Cup core back in October, then I got news for you. Pochettino's looking at that group as our World Cup squad, and that's going to really worry me a lot. I'm concerned, because I've said I've kind of beat it in the ground before how because we're not qualifying, it's going to be hard for us to find quality opponents to play because everybody else is busy qualifying. And to the U.S. Soccer Federation's credit, so far, I say they've done a good job at booking opposition. And especially, Korea and Japan, quality teams that made it to the knockout stage in 2022. And we're not taking advantage of this quality opposition by bringing in our best team. We're still basically bringing in our Gold Cup squad. We got Weah and Pulisic added to the Gold Cup squad. And I feel like it's another wasted opportunity to take advantage of this quality opposition of Korea and Japan. It seems like ever since the end of December 2022, when we let Greg Berhalter's contract expire, I feel like we've taken every step wrong. Hiring Pochettino, possibly the right step, but nothing else seems to follow any kind of logic. And the calendar is working against us. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm worried about his roster selection. I'm worried about his player assessment. Is he really putting this much value and weight on Major League Soccer level of play? Because I don't think that's the right mentality. He knows soccer better than I do. We'll see how it plays out. But if it doesn't go well, the first thing people are going to talk about is his player assessment and roster selection. Honestly, I'm not optimistic about our chances in September with these two matches, just because of the roster we're bringing. These are quality opponents. I wish we were bringing our best teams. When are we going to start trying to win games? When are we going to start trying to win games? Bring in our best players who play consistently at the highest levels and see those players play hard and care about the result. They're going to have to find a way to motivate themselves, even though these are friendlies, because we wasted the Gold Cup, which was our last opportunity for competitive matches. So I think I covered the main points that I wanted to cover. I hope I shed some light on what to expect from Pochettino's tactics. I hope I've broken down the roster in a way that helps you understand the kind of team we're bringing in, and we'll just see. So I want you to watch that midfield matchup, the midfield battle, and watch how long we stick to playing out of the back. Who's going to be our left back? Is it going to be Max Arston again? Who's going to pair with Chris Richards as our other center back? Is Josh Sargent going to start at striker? So these are things to watch for. I hope that you'll watch these games. If you're not already familiar with these players or with this team, now's a good time to start. We are less than a year away from the World Cup. We got 3 international windows in a row, September, October, November. We'll have 2 matches in each month. These games are on HBO Max. I think the Spanish language is on Peacock. Find these games, watch them, and because this is the team where I'll get specific, describing the action and digging into the matches. And if y'all want me to do that with MLS, just let me know. But I kind of feel like I'd lose a lot of you with that. I'm looking at the chat now. I'm getting ready to wrap this up. Anybody have any comments or reactions to what I said? Is anybody more optimistic about this group than I am? The team, the Gold Cup team, they were winning over hearts, winning over a lot of our hearts in June. Won me over. I was kind of about the tournament going in, but to see the spirit they were playing with, they got me excited. We had a good run, made it to the final. I'm not under any delusions that they are our best possible players that are available to our national team, but it was fun to watch them play, and we'll see what they do. Like the players that played in the Gold Cup that are back now, they are being given every opportunity to go to a World Cup. And I think if we see some standout performances from some of these MLS Gold Cup guys that are repeating their good performance, like if it's the same people, if there's someone who had a standout showing at the Gold Cup and they stand out again this time, they might have their ticket punched. They might be on the squad. So I'm also expecting a very different roster in October. We'll see how that goes. All right, Saturday against South Korea. Google's telling me 4:00. I wish Google would put the time zone with those times. I never fully trust that it's just adjusting automatically for my time zone. Just tell me if it's Eastern or Central. But I think they're telling me 4:00. I think they mean 4:00 Central. But look for it. It's either going to be 4 or 5 o'clock on Saturday. I'll be watching. I hope you will be too. We got Japan on next Tuesday. Well, I got to figure out what I want to do with next week's live stream because it's probably going to be happening at the same time as the Japan match. So be looking for any announcement from me if we decide to adjust the time of the live stream. I do have an American Soccer Quick Kicks Facebook page. Watch that. Look there for announcements. So, guys, I'm not seeing any questions come up, so I'm going to wrap it up right there. We're at 28 minutes. I think that's pretty good. So, U.S. men back in action Saturday and a week from tonight on Tuesday. Watch some soccer with me, and I'll talk to you next time.